Hey everybody, welcome to Mr. Noah's How Sports Affect Your Body lesson. So today we're going to be looking at different sports and what kind of things happen with your body when you play them. Um, so first up, just to give you a little bit of an introduction, I have been playing sports most of my life. I love watching them. I love playing them. Most of them. I'm not the best at some of them, but I like to think of myself as an above average athlete. But most of you have played a sport throughout your life, and you may notice that sometimes different parts of your body do different things. I mean, sometimes your arm hurts. Sometimes you notice like your muscles getting sore. You get tired as you play. Things happen to you as you go through whatever exercise or sport that you're playing. So I just want you to right now think of what your favorite sports. It doesn't have to be one sport. You can think of a couple different ones. Just think of what your favorite sports are, and kind of converse amongst yourselves as to what you think kind of happens to you when you play your favorite sports. Here's a list of some of my favorite sports, along with other ones that I don't really excel at. I love playing basketball. I love watching basketball. Baseball as well. Football is kind of interesting because I have the size to play football, but I never really got into it. I was never interested. Coaches in high school always wanted me to join the team. Just never really got into it. I like to watch it every once in a while. Same with soccer. I am not very good with my, I guess you can call it foot-eye coordination, how you have hand-eye coordination. I was just never really that good at soccer. And to me, it's not that entertaining to watch compared to some of the other sports, but that's just my opinion. You can definitely love soccer if you want. There's nothing against it. Volleyball, I like to consider myself a natural volleyball player because my mom coached volleyball. I actually helped her when I was younger. I love to play volleyball. I still do whenever I get the chance. I don't really get the chance to play volleyball too much more. Then in high school, I really got to explore with the table sports. I guess they're called racket sports technically. It includes all of them. I love to play badminton and ping pong. I've been playing those since I was a kid at vacations and stuff like that. But then in high school, tennis was kind of the new sport for me. I never really got to play it. You kind of need the right equipment and a place to play. So in high school, I kind of like to play tennis. But those are some of the different sports that you guys might encounter. There's also a lot of more sports that I didn't list there. So after you guys have finished talking to each other about what you think might happen to yourself, in your body, your muscles, with your different sports, I'm sure some of you have heard or probably been injured yourself by playing some sports. So on the left, I have a couple of more common injuries when it comes to sports, and on the right, sports that kind of go with them. So, again, with the same people that you've been talking with, or you can switch it up if you want, just kind of converse about which injuries you think can go with which sports. Interesting, there's no right or wrong answer. I believe any of these can happen with any of these sports. So, discuss what you think. Maybe which one do you think is the most likely to happen in some sports? I'll give you my example. I think sprained ankles are a very common injury in basketball. You're constantly running. You're not running in a straight line, so your ankles are going back and forth. Sometimes you step on somebody else's foot and your ankle rolls and it sprains your ankle. So I think that that's one of the most common injuries when playing basketball is a sprained ankle. So now that we've talked about what injuries are probably the most common in certain sports, how do you injure yourself in sports? Good question. Because you don't go into a sport thinking, I'm going to injure myself playing this sport. It's not a goal of playing a sport. I hope it's not. So most most injuries do happen by accident. Like I mentioned before, if you accidentally step on somebody else's foot while playing basketball, there's a good chance that your ankle might roll and, slightly or severely sprain it. You might actually break it if it's bad enough. But it's an accident. very few sports have injuries that are on purpose. I know people probably talk about hockey being a very violent sport. And it's true, like they do go after each other, but most accidents when it comes to athletes, they hurt themselves by accident. Stretching, though, is one big important thing to do to avoid pulling any muscles while you're being active. Also, drinking water constantly. Like you hear Gatorade and Powerade are good for you. They do help with athletes, but water is always the best option. And then just take a break every once in a while. Pushing yourself too hard, it'll run your body down. And like I say here, your lungs are probably used in most, if not all, sports. Arms and legs, again, most in all sports, they're the areas of your body that will wear down the most. So you need to make sure to take care of yourself. And also understanding how to play the game, following the rules. Some rules are there to help you avoid injury. So, moving on from what some of the rules of certain sports are, benefits of sports. What do you guys think can, come from sports other than it being fun? I have that down there at the bottom. Don't worry. We're having fun. Exercise. Everybody gets to exercise by playing sports. Your muscle growth. Your muscles actually grow. They don't just stay, they don't just grow randomly. They do a little bit as you get older, but you have to do things for your muscles to grow. When, the older you get, the more you have to do. You can also learn mentally. You might have heard of strategy before. You probably even use it without thinking about it. But you learn a lot of strategy by watching sports on TV and by playing them. And then teamwork. Learn to work with a couple people. So, and then some of the short-term effects of playing sports. Obviously, you get out of breath, like we went over the lungs, and legs and arms get sore. A lot of people probably sweat. I sweat a decent amount when I play a sport. So just to kind of test how that works, let's have everybody stand up, and you're going to do jumping jacks for a minute, and then we'll see how you feel after. And if you get sore during that minute, then you're already starting to feel those effects. And then again, long-term effects of sports, you should get to stay in shape. You get to improve your skills, right? Because you want to get better at stuff. You don't want to, stay at the level that you are when you play sports. Again, muscles will improve, learning about strategy, and also your mental health. You probably don't know too much about this right now, but, athletes can go through some rough times in their life, and playing sports, or even anybody when they're watching sports, it really helps. So, now that we've gone through all of this is kind of our fun little activity. I want you to follow this link, and here are a couple examples of a football play. Now, this is about strategy. Okay, so I want you to design, put your players however you want, and have them go a certain way. You can go have somebody run out to go for a long pass. You can have somebody stay back and block. Design your own football play. And like I said, here are a couple of examples to help get you started. So yeah, I hope that you guys all learned something about how sports could possibly affect you. Even if you don't think you're the most athletic person, I encourage you to get out there and just keep trying, have fun with it. Not all sports have to be competitive. A lot of people do like to compete with sports, but they don't have to be. The main thing about sports, especially for me, I just like to have fun. All right, it's going to be one of the most fun things that you can do in your life. And just make sure that you're safe playing them, because, you really don't want to get hurt, so that way they can continue to be fun for you. All right? And there are some of the references of some pages that I use. So thanks for paying attention, and I hope that you guys continue to enjoy sports and love them as much as I do.